but it's just deflating. And then I don't want to be here. I just destroyed and got respect. Then the very next night, my open mic I do on Wednesday every week in Rockville at the Potomac Grill. There's a guy there. He comes up to me and he introduces himself, and he stutters, right? And he does this thing where he starts, his mouth gets stuck wide open.
What?
And be like, I'm here for the show. And his mouth is just wide open. And I'm not going to make fun of someone as a handicap, but it's weird. And then he's trying to tell me that he's waiting for another comic. And can he get on the list? This other guy. So I'm like, oh, you're here to support him. You're not going on. And he's like, no, I am.
Oh.
Of course you are. Okay.
Do you say, because you know me, I would have been like, well, are you concerned that your stutter might affect your performance? You didn't say anything. You were just like, okay, let's do this.
I say nothing because at first I'm like thinking, is this guy kidding? Like, because someone like Justin Slager or a friend of mine, he'll do something like that and not really stuff, but just to mess with you.
Just to screw with you, right?
And there are comics would do that, but this guy, he didn't seem like that kind of guy. So he ends up going up and he does his set and he doesn't acknowledge the stuttering, right?
We just were talking about that earlier.
Exactly.
The birthmark. Okay.
Because this is awkward.
Oh.
But he's not going to get booed or anything, or no one's going to turn on him because he clearly has his handicap.
Right.
Now, finally he mentions it. Well, anyway, I go up afterwards and I say, wow, like public speaking is like the main fear of most people, and they can actually speak and they're still afraid of doing it. Right? But you're doing it. Doesn't even smile, nothing. And I'm like, really? Are you not going to give me anything? Like,
What, did the audience laugh?
Yeah, they laugh. And I'm like, why? Are you offended by that? I mean, you can't speak. I'm not being rude. You can't. You're not. Just the last thing you should be doing is being a public speaker. It just doesn't. You stutter. And I say, you have a small penis and you're bad in bed. You wouldn't do porn. You just wouldn't. You wouldn't think I would go into that field.
Did you have to face him off stage?
No, his buddy went up and then they left and that was it. It's just weird that you're not going to.
He's probably like, I can't believe that guy brought up my stutter.
Right. I'm like, to me, that's what I would be talking about if I was him.
Well, what amazes me is what little sense of self people have, right? I mean, the problem, we've talked about this before, with comedy is that everybody thinks they're funny.
Right.
And everybody wants to be famous. Even if you're agoraphobic, people are like, hey, I can be. So this is their vehicle, right?
Right.
So I guarantee you, that guy is sitting around with his buddy. They're making fart noises. Everybody's cracking up. He's like, I can't wait to get up there. But I mean, honestly, even if you think you're funny, and by the way, like Mike Aronin, what does he have? CP? He's hilarious, right? But he's not going to pretend like he doesn't have it. You walk up there, you have a tough time getting on stage and you don't acknowledge it. I mean, people are going to be uncomfortable. Even if people like you and feel sorry for you, they're not going to laugh because they feel sorry for you or pity you. It's confidence that makes people laugh. This guy, although he didn't lack confidence, I cannot believe someone was that unaware of themselves.
What affliction could you have that would be the worst for comedy?
I mean, are there any deaf comics?
There are, yeah.
Well, Jerry Jewell, I believe, was a comic, right? From Facts of Life. She was on Deadwood. I think she came out. She's a lesbian.
You're saying a lesbian is an affliction?
No, I'm just talking about Jerry Jewell.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if your speech was such that people couldn't understand you, and then you couldn't hear if you were doing well, actually, that might be good, right? You can't tell if you're bombing or not.
Well, I've done shows with deaf comics where they have a deaf people in the audience and they have an interpreter up there. A lot of comedy telling jokes is timing. That's really, I mean, two people can tell the exact same joke and one person can have great timing. It's funny. The other person can have awful timing and it's not funny. So if you stutter,
you're right.
Now you control when you stutter, then you wouldn't stutter. I don't see how you could, that would be the worst thing you could possibly have.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it can't be anything worse.
But that guy can get on in my open mic. So what does that tell you about my open mic?
What would somebody have to do to not get up on your open mic?
I basically just not show up. Like if you're there.
What if you thought somebody was violent? Then they would really get up because you would be scared.
Yeah, I like a story. If I see sort of train wreck aspect, that I like.
What if somebody came up and said, look, I need to get on stage. My ex-girlfriend is in the audience. And, this is all part of my plan to kill her. What would you do? Just 911 it? Or would you be like, well, let's see what happens?
I would say yes, because my excuse is I thought he meant kill, like in comedy.
Would you really let someone on stage? What would you do if that happened? Would you call the police?
Yeah, I would say, are you really going to be violent? We can't have that. If he was serious, I mean, if he wanted to just bash her and call her a whore for 20 minutes, that's okay.
Of course. What if he said, "I'm just kidding," and then he went up on stage, killed her. What would you feel responsible, or would you be like, "Hey, he told me he was just kidding"?
I would feel a little responsible, but I would trust my instincts that if I did believe that he was kidding, that I was right in that. I guess he pulls out a gun and shoots her. Is that what we're suggesting? I think if he said that, I would kind of have my eye on him. He couldn't just run over and like stab her. I think I would be ready for that.
Okay, I have a
What would
question.
you do? You wouldn't do anything.
What affliction would be so bad that it wouldn't matter if they had the best material in the world? They could not get a laugh because the affliction was so distracting and upsetting.
Oh, it would be like elephantitis or something, right? Like if somebody was horribly disfigured. You know that lady who just got her face ripped off by the chimp?
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Yeah. That lady could not do comedy, even with her new face.
I've seen people that have that like hole in their throat. I couldn't get past that.
The kazoo?
No. Like if you had like a trach tube.
I think if you're that disfigured, I don't want to look at you. I know it's not going to be mean. It's just you can't get past it.
Now, if the chimp lady, if she wrote jokes, I mean, Rob would tell them, right? You'd be willing to.
Yeah, but I'm curious. Why would she be that funny? She was that funny. She could have talked her way out of the chimp attacking.
You can't. That doesn't even make any sense.